So there we go. 3, 2, and 1. All right. Welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU, WSAU.com. It's been a couple of months. Obviously, we've been pretty busy around the region, and you've been busy with, a lot of planning because that's what your job description is. Planning and managing things for the village. So I guess first off, just what is it you're most excited about right now here in the village?
Gosh, yeah. Well, we can talk about some development happening.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of individuals have been seeing, three different things actually. First, on the north side of the village, what was the old Shopko Plaza, now One Everest Place. You're seeing some change and continue to see change on the facade there. Parking lot work will also be occurring. And then this will be coming later, probably this year, but there will be a new building, as we've been talking about for a few years now.
Right.
There are some leases that we're working through getting signed, and there will be a new building build out on the north end, likely just north of that intersection of like Clean Slate area, or where Clean Slate was. So that's exciting on the north side. On the south side of the village, on Eagle Nest Boulevard, you're going to start to see more and more construction there as well. First one being we're adding 14 single-family homes, 14 duplex/zero lot line homes, and then 10 townhomes. And there will also be a commercial building, the new site of Denyon Homes. So their new headquarters will actually be here in Rothschild.
Oh, yeah, and that's pretty big as well, bringing new business to the area and new homes.
Correct. Yeah, it's huge for us. When we can start to expand and bring in more families into the area. We're hoping, obviously, there's going to be some nicer homes along that stretch that really looks at and backs up to Cedar Creek, and there's going to be even a walking trail down there, a paved walking trail. And then likewise with that is going to be some more affordable housing slash duplexes on towards the Eagle Nest Boulevard side. So really excited, and obviously that kind of segues into our next conversation about what the village has been working on through comprehensive planning on that Cedar Creek area with our park system. So the village has been working to enhance that Cedar Creek recreation area. We're working on some development there that we'll be releasing hopefully in the next couple months here, but some exciting stuff for the area and what our comprehensive plan for the village of Rothschild really looks like. So we're trying to figure out ways to add more amenities to our current park system, or I'm going to say our amenities, our natural amenities. As individuals know, there's a lot of expenses with parks and aquatics that can get very, very expensive. So kind of the way of the future really is working with other communities, trying to figure out ways that we can cut costs yet still provide top-notch outdoor recreation and potential indoor recreation for the area. And so that's something we're really focusing on through our comprehensive plan that we actually hired Ayers Associates to do.
So, and I know part of this might be a new park area in that Cedar Creek area. Would that be something like the dog park there, which can connect to the different trails, and you can get to there from a residential neighborhood without having to worry about walking along streets in so many areas?
Yeah, some of it will require some walking. However, what we're working on is actually, it would be abutted up to our current, I'm going to say, growth plan within that Cedar Creek area. Sure. So this land would abut up to it already. So yeah, we're really excited, and hopefully in the next couple months we'll be able to release a lot more information. But we're working on the CIP of that and what that kind of looks like for the next 5 years.
So when you're going through and planning kind of a park like that, what are you looking at most? What do you see as the biggest need in that area? Are you just looking at the amount of land in the village and saying we don't have enough of this devoted to parks, so let's go ahead and find a different spot to put it?
Partially, yeah. So actually, what the village what the village comprehensive plan talks about is trying to have a couple more micro parks, which are like a 3/4 acre roughly in size or smaller. So we're figuring out ways to kind of enhance that. But also with this one, I'm going to say it's more of our I'm going to call it our mega park, right?
Okay.
And enhancing potentially aquatics in that area. And maybe some kayaking and that type of facility is really what we're trying to work through. So again, we're in the really early stages right now, and working through what that CIP looks like. But yeah, in the next couple months, we'll definitely be rolling out some more information.
Absolutely. And I know one of the other things you've been working on this summer is with the new drinking water treatment facility. Obviously, we know that's been online. It's been distributing for well over 6 months now. But now it's got to come time to pay for all of that. So I know you're going through a rate study. Where are we at in that stage?
Yeah. So obviously those things are not cheap, and a lot of these mandates are coming right from the EPA. And so because Rothschild had PFAS in the water, that's why we're going through this process. Again, we realize that it's not cheap, but we're trying to apply for as many grants, and we've been receiving grants, which is tremendous to kind of buy down that debt. However, there are some areas in low principal forgiveness through the DNR that are still requiring debt to be taken on. So exactly what you're saying, where we're at is we're continuing through that PSC application rate study. And right now we're hoping for submittal actually by the end of next week. So we've been working on that over the last several months. We've had a couple Water Utility Commission meetings about it. We've had some mailings about it. And so it's really just trying to get that information out there. Unfortunately, clean water doesn't come cheap. And so that's really what we're trying to struggle through is what can we do to mitigate rising costs that we're facing, because with a new PFAS plant like we have now, every couple years just to change out the media filters on what the PFAS has to cycle through in the GAC system, it's going to be about $300,000 in operational expenses that we've never had to have before. And obviously in a water utility, that's a lot of money. And so especially when it comes over, every 2 years roughly that you're going to have to do that's a lot. So yes, we're working through that rate study. We don't have any projections of what that potential increase could look like. However, as we know more information likely this fall, we'll definitely pump it out.
Yeah, I know the financial analysts can go through and look and guess, but at the end of the day, it is the Public Service Commission that has the final say over that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's something that we'll certainly be looking for over the next couple of months. I know you've got some road projects as well that you're thinking about either taking on later this year or into next year already too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. One of the bigger ones that I think our residents have been seeing is on military. So on military, that connects one of our main collectors within the village of Rothschild. You're seeing there's a new by Gasca Park. There's going to be a new kind of a bridge culvert structure. There's going to be a widening of road in that area. We're trying to incorporate some more trails and kind of really enhancing that whole westerly portion of Gasca Park too. So again, that's what's happening right now. We're hoping that project wraps up right around the start of the school year is the goal. And so we're really excited because that was a pretty rough stretch of military. And then actually going west on military is our plan here in 2027/2028 timeframe to really look at what else can we do to not only enhance and kind of make that road, I'm going to say more user-friendly.
Yes, user-friendly.
But the biggest thing that we're facing right now with utilities and road projects is a lot what people actually can't see. So it's the utilities underneath with our infrastructure that we have. Some of it is extremely dated and some of that is lead. And so with the lead service lateral mandates that are coming down from the EPA, we're trying to figure out ways to do projects, kind of in tandem. So we're not tearing up a road just to do utilities, we're tearing up a road to do utilities and the road resurfacing.
Indeed.
And so it just, with this lead service lateral mandate, kind of like the PFAS portion, again, these things are not cheap.
Right.
It's tough for communities, especially, even in this greater Wausau area, we make up a large area, but when it comes down to it, our pot of money is only so much. And so we're trying to be as fiscally responsible as we can when we go and borrow our money with the taxpayers and the rate users in that case to essentially continue to have the best, healthiest water we can provide to our residents.
And that's another struggle right there that everybody in Wausau, we know about all too well right now, because we are in, I believe it's year 3 now of a 5-year plan to remove private side lead service lines in Wausau. We're starting to run into situations where the funding is there, but it's not as much as we were expecting. So these are projects, when you're talking about lead service lines, that it is imperative that you get them done as soon as possible, because you don't know when that assistance or that extra funding will run out.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Totally.
Right. So as you're going through those lead service lines, do you know how many you have in the village right now? Or is this just kind of like the number one priority right now?
I know. Project? Yeah. So after we kind of wrap up, I'm going to say the PSC rate study here, that's kind of, I know Tim, our public works director, is really working through what that lead service lateral program looks like. And it's something that's kind of, it's newer, obviously, as you guys know, and there's a lot of, I'm going to say, changing deadlines that are hard to really project. And so we're really trying to change what our CIP planning looks like for the village, because when we have to, let's say 2, 3, 4 years ago, when some of those mandates weren't, a hard deadline, our CIP looked different than it does now because of the lead service laterals. And so we know we have a couple hundred throughout the village that we have to maintain and fix, and we have that mandate coming. And so, it seems like even though it's years down the road, we have to start now. And so some of those road projects where people are probably going to think, well, geez, why are we doing, X, Y, and Z? It's because of some of the project that actually is occurring underground that the naked eye isn't seeing. And so that's really where a lot of it roots from, and why we're seeing some of the roads get redone, maybe that are in better shape on the surface than other roads, but they have the poor utilities underneath, and we're being mandated to do so.
And this is a part of the puzzle that you have to deal with on an everyday basis,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And so I guess the last question about that would be, do you see a point where the village is maybe on a timeline to say, residential lead service lines, you need to be replaced as well, and we're going to put a mandate in that has to be replaced by such and such a date, which of course, is something that the EPA is bringing down anyway.
Yeah, I know Tim, our public works director, he's been working through that, and even with Rick, our water utility lead operator. And so, yes, as more information comes out, they'll continue to put it out, in our tax bills, on social media, and so on and so forth. But yes, it's something that we're working through, and then as more hard deadlines come about, we're going to pump that out, and we're going to try to figure out, just like City of Wausau and others are doing through grants, trying to figure out what can we do to work with the residents, because all of a sudden when they're hit with a bill of a few $1,000s to replace these lines, it's not cheap, and we understand that. And so we're trying to figure out the best reasonable options we can do and different scenarios that we can run by to give individuals choices.
Absolutely. Last thing then before we let you go, is there anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, our Mountain Bay Metropolitan Police Department.
Right.
So that's another big thing that I'm sure individuals have heard about throughout the news, over the last, we've been actually merged since the spring of 2024 with that new department. So
I was going to say, it's been about 2 years now, right?
Yep, yeah, over 2 years now. And it's going really, really well. One of the things, obviously, is we've been looking at the last probably year and a half, looking at what a new building looks like. And so we are in the process. We've received some bids about what that could look like. Both the Village of Rothschild and Village of Weston have looked into what that borrowing capacity looks like for both communities. And so, yes, we're kind of running down, and so those numbers are kind of changing ever so slightly, but right now we're looking at a mill rate change of roughly 18 cents per thousand for the Village of Rothschild, maybe just actually a hair below that. So you're looking at, I'm going to say, less than $5.50 a month is what that would change, that on a $300,000 home could look like. And again, that's all mill rates based on your assessed value per thousand. So that's what we're looking at right now. And again, they have some land that was purchased a couple years ago, well, not even a year and a half roughly ago, maybe a little bit more, but that was off of Community Center Drive. So it's in the Village of Weston, right off of Camp Phillips, in a more centralized location, and really the size of this department has really grown, and in the area, as it continues to grow and continue to add homes and subdivisions like we're doing and Weston is doing, police presence is huge, and we need more. And the amount of calls that these officers are taking in is tremendous. And so figuring out ways to have specialized departments, whether it's investigating, it's more traffic patrol, you name it, it takes a lot of time. And so having the resources in the building area that they can have to operate as best and as smoothly as they can is critical.
So I know last time we had talked with you about that was still very much a planning phase. So now you're starting to get a little more concrete. Is that right?
That is correct, yes. Yep, so the Village of Weston board actually talked about it this past Monday at their village board meeting, and they've approved to move forward with this building unanimously. The Village of Rothschild will be talking about it here at our upcoming meeting. And so, yes, it's they were projecting, at least initially, the talk was always roughly $7 million. One of the low bids actually came in at $5.94 million, and with some add-ons and then alternates for evidence storage and a generator, it bumped it up to roughly that $6.7 million. However, we still think it's going to come in less than that. So that's why those mill rate dollars that were pumped out, I'm going to say, to the public probably a month ago now, with some of the informational dialogue about what that could look like for the mill rate. It's actually going to come in less because the dollar or the projection has come in less.
Well, yeah, I think there's a lot of people that would maybe look at that and say, oh yeah, sign on that dotted line quick before they start to get smart and pump that up a little bit, because you don't see savings like that of, you're talking $2 million very often.
Yeah, and it's pretty substantial. You know, when the building first was talked about, it was actually nearing 10 million in price. And now to have it under 7 million is pretty incredible. I know there's been others that have reached out in the area, actually the greater Wisconsin area, and because of other communities, I know Plover's looking at it, Marshville's looking at it.
Yep.
So communities, I think, to the north of us, you know, up north, are looking at buildings, and a lot of these are in the teens to build a police department. So again, I think the Mountain Bay Metropolitan Police Department Oversight Board, the Village of Weston Board, Village of Rothschild Board, they have been, I think, pivotal in this approach, and they've really been, what can we do for the best dollar that makes the most sense without going overboard? And so I'm beyond appreciative, and I think the amount of different aspects and the different experiences that we have both on our board, Village of Weston board, and even the oversight board is huge. It's paramount, because they come in with these different items that I'm not an expert on, and I know our police chief is not an expert on.
Right.
And so it's really helped cut the costs down, and we're beyond thankful for that.
Absolutely. Well, we always appreciate the time, Ryan. We'll look forward to chatting again down the road.
Yes, thank you.